Hey everybody, it's Jason with All-Star Welding, back at you with another exciting video. So you're all excited, you finally got your hands on a Vulcan Outlaw 195. Well, hold up. Before you use it, we've got some things we got to talk about. Whether you bought it new or if you bought it used, we got a couple of maintenance issues that we need to address first. So we're going to start off with whether you bought it used, and then we'll continue with whether you bought it new, and then we'll talk about some things that are for both. But anyway, stick around, let's get this started. Alright, so if you bought it used, the first thing that you want to do is take this cover off. There's 10 bolts to hold it on, and you're going to need an 8mm. Okay, now that you've got the cover off, take this opportunity to get some spray cleaner, some paper towels, clean it up a little bit. Much better. Okay, next you're going to want to take your flashlight and inspect all this stuff in here. Look for rat's nest, mouse nest, bird nest, wasp nest, dirt daubers, spiders, bugs, roaches, weapons of mass destruction, anything else. Make sure it's all clean. After you do that, you may want to take a screwdriver and just check all your little screws on your breakers, on your outlets. Make sure everything's tight, because this thing sure does vibrate a lot. You don't want anything coming loose. Okay, the next step is pretty important. I don't care if they say they changed the oil yesterday. You do it yourself so that you know that it's changed and it's done properly. This is your drain plug. Takes a 12mm wrench. You can open this up, let it pour into a pan. Now, my generator stays in the truck and it's fastened down with these U-bolts. So you got two options. You can get a vacuum pump fluid exchanger or fluid extractor. You can get those off of Amazon. Or next time you take this out, you can get a oil change extension tube that screws into this, and if you wanted to, you can make a little hole in your bed and run that hose down through the hole, and that way you can go under the truck, undo that bolt, let it drain out. But if you've got it on the wheel kit, or if it's not bolted in your truck, it's real easy. Another thing, when you're checking your oil, the proper way to check your oil is to unscrew it all the way, wipe it off with a towel, with a paper towel, and then when you put it back in, just set it in there. Don't screw it back in and then pull it back out. A lot of people think that you have to screw it back in and then unscrew it. No, you just want to put it in there, pull it back out, check your level, and then screw that back in. When you've got this open, be a good time to check this O-ring around here, make sure it's still intact. And there's some small engine specialty parts that you can go to on their website, and you can buy the magnetic dipstick that's got a magnet in the end, so any metal fragments that might be floating around down there will stick to the dipstick, so that when you pull it out, you can wipe it off. So while we're talking about the oil change, you want to use either a 10W30 or a 5W30. Use the 10W30 if your winters are normally above 32 degrees. Use the 530 if it's under 32 degrees. Now it's going to take a quart and about 5 ounces. So buy you 2 quarts, fill it up with 1 quart, and then use what's left over. Use about 5 ounces out of that, because it's actually 1 quart and 0.16 of a quart, which comes out to about 5 ounces. So keep that other bottle, because what's left in there you can add to another quart, and that'll last you for about 4 or 5 more oil changes. Okay, so coming back here to the back of the engine, This model that I have is the first generation. It's the one without the CO2 monitor. And you can see here, this is the solenoid that operates the clutch lever. So all I have to do is put it over here to start, which I do with this little cable. And when the engine RPMs are good, the governor kicks on this solenoid and it will move the clutch lever back over to the run position by itself. It's really a shame that when they came out with the new model with the O2 sensor, or what we're calling the Generation 2, it doesn't have this option. It's just a manual on and off yourself. Have you tried to pull start your machine? On the front cover, we've got the on-off switch. So there's off, and then there's a middle position, and then there's a start if you push it all the way up. Put it in the middle position, set your choke, and then pull start your machine. It's always nice to try that once in a while just to make sure that option's working in case something happens to your battery. Okay, your spark plug's located right there. You're going to need a 13/16 deep well. Stick it in there, get it seated, and just break it loose. And then do the rest with your hand, because you don't want to break that spark plug off in there. That wouldn't be good. By the way, these machines come with F7TC plug made by Torch. It's a Torch F7TC, and it's typical for any spark plug that you're going to have on any Predator engine, or most Chinese made small engines like pressure washers, stuff like that. I chose to swap mine out with an NGK spark plug. There's the number right there, BPR 7ES. That's BPR 7ES. If you can't remember that, you can take your spark plug to any auto parts store, and they can cross-reference that Torch into any other brand, Champion, Autolite, anything like that. So my spark plug looks like it needs to be cleaned, so I'm going to clean that up real quick and we'll put it back in. Okay, that looks a lot better. The manual says that the spark plug gap should be between 0.028 and 0.031. That's pretty wide range. So I just took a piece of 030 welding wire, MIG wire, and it fits in there pretty nice. So that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so when you put your spark plug in, you want to start it by hand to get it pretty much in there by hand. You don't want to use a wrench when you're putting the spark plug back in, because you run the risk of cross-threading those threads, and you do that, then that's no bueno. It's no good. Gonna have to take it apart. All right, so I've got that pretty much in there. So now that I got it in there, I can use my wrench and go ahead and finish it off. All right, while you're at this point, go ahead and inspect your spark plug boot. Check it all the way. Look for cracks, any kind of erosion. Check your boot, make sure it's okay. Look on the inside. If you've got some dielectric grease, you can put some in there, make a good connection. And if everything's good with that, you can just put it right back on, like so. Now, see this little wire right here? That's the inductance wire that's going to my hour meter. And that hour meter really should be your next purchase. I'm not going to bother with putting a Amazon link on there because there's about 500 different kinds, but it's just an induction hour meter. I chose the orange because it matches the machine, but you can get black or whatever. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the air filter. Alright, checking your air filter is pretty straightforward. You've got a latch down here at the bottom, and you got a latch up here at the top. Just take those off, and then you can just pull the cover right off of there. Alright, so go ahead and inspect your covers. As you can see here, I've got some grease and some oil and stuff like that, so I'm going to clean that up before I put it back on. And then look down under here, I got some oil. Want to clean that up. Make sure all of this is nice and clean, and then pull out your oil filter. Your air filter. Now you should have two. Okay, you got this one and you got this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this one with some oil, and then I'm going to wring it out, and that'll catch any kind of dirt, flying debris, anything like that before it gets to this filter and before it gets up into your carburetor. So you just want to take this moment to take some paper towels and just clean all this. Inspect your gasket that goes all the way around here. Make sure that that's still in good shape. And if you need new filters, or if you need a new gasket, any of this kind of stuff you can get on any small engine parts website. It's not really that hard. This is a Predator 420. It just happens to be the same thing as a Honda GX390. So if you need parts, they're pretty much the same thing. Okay, so the next thing I did after I pulled these two filters out is I used my compressed air to blow them out really good. I used some brake cleaner to clean all this up, make sure it's nice. And gray filter goes in first. It just goes in like that. And then I took the black cover and I sprayed it with WD-40, and then I just wringed it out real good, got out as much oil as I could, but it's still just a little bit damp. And what that's going to do is it's going to help collect any fine dust, dirt road dirt, stuff like that in the air from getting into this filter, and keep everything nice and clean. You want to make sure that you take care of your machine, because this is your money maker, right? So you want to make sure that it's doing good. Lord, I can't get this thing in here. There we go. Alright. So now that we got that in, we put our cover back on. And it's just a latch on the bottom. And a latch on top. There you go. And then of course, when you're done, just take another paper towel, wipe everything down, make sure it looks good, make sure that everything's nice. Okay, that was easy, huh? Okay, while you're back here, take just a few minutes to get some wrenches and just tighten down all of your little nuts and bolts and everything, because this thing vibrates pretty bad, and you just want to make sure everything's going good. And then another thing, let me see if I can get in here and show you. If you saw my other video, you saw that I had a problem with these nuts on the cover vibrating out. Made a big old mess. Take your wrench, I think these are 10 millimeter. tighten those up, make sure that they're nice and in there good, and that you don't have any oil leaking out of this gasket on this cover. It goes all the way around. I think there's about 8 of these screws or these bolts, but you don't want these coming out. If you watch that video, getting this fixed was not an easy thing to do. But again, you know, go through the whole machine. Just sit there and just kind of adjust all your nuts. Make sure that all the bolts and nuts and screws and everything is nice and tight. Okay, so that's pretty much it. When you're done with all that, put the cover back on. About maybe once or twice a year, you can take some car wax and just wax this cover, keep it from fading. I bought my machine used, and I wish that my previous owner had done that. He didn't, and it faded a little bit. Looks pretty bad. So I'm thinking about taking my cover off and painting it. And I know a guy that does airbrush artistry, so I can get him to put the Vulcan Outlaw logo on the side. That'd look pretty cool. You know, just take a lazy Sunday afternoon, just, you know, maybe 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. Just explore your new machine. Take the cover off, look inside, see what makes it tick. Just look for things. Tighten up bolts, tighten up screws on the back of your breakers, on the back of your outlets. You know, make sure everything is going good. Look for obvious oil leaks. You'll want to get that fixed, you know, pretty quickly. And again, changing the oil, you know, every time I buy a used machine, or a used truck, the very first day I get it, I'm at the oil change place getting the oil changed, because I don't know when it was changed last, or if the guy says, oh yeah, I just changed oil in it last week. Yeah, okay, I'm sure you did, but just in case he didn't, you know, do it yourself so that you know, go ahead and change the spark plug. Check your air filter. Check your spark plug boot for cracks. Anything like that that's going to make it ground out and not run correctly. That spark plug boot goes to your magneto, which is under your pull starter cover. It's really easy to change. And look, you know, I'm not a small engine mechanic. I'm not trying to play it off like I am. I am not at all. If you're not comfortable with doing some of this type of work, just take it to a small engine place. You know, that's what they're there for. And they'll be glad to get, you know, your machine up to speed, because they know what to look for. They know, you know, what commonly breaks on little machines like this. And you know, they're really smart guys. And or call up a buddy, you know. But really, this is all stuff that you can do yourself. Spark plug, air filter, oil change. Those are the major things that you want to do. Check your gaskets for leaks, tighten up all the bolts, all that kind of stuff. That's the things that you want to do on the very first day that you get this, before you use it. And another thing, we got a subscriber, Welding with Ross. He just got his brand new machine a couple of days ago, and he put a video on, and he was asking me some questions about it. When these come to you, especially brand new, this breaker here will be off. So he had a little miniature heart attack when he cranked his machine up for the very first time, switched the welding power over, and it was dead. Oh, he was about to come unglued. I'm sure he broke out in a sweat, but all it was the 30 amp breaker right there was on the off position. All you got to do is move it up and everything should work right. And also, when I bought my machine used, it had black outlets on here, and both of them were cracked right through the middle. So I went to Lowe's and got some new outlets. There's nothing special about these outlets. It's the same thing that you would put in your house. Just square outlets with the GFI circuit breaker on them. You know, can't be that easier. But so now let's talk about what to do if you get it brand new. Okay, so again, it's not rocket science. If you bought your machine used and you don't have the user's manual, you can go to the Harbor Freight website, go to the description page for the Vulcan Outlaw 195, and you can download the user's manual. It's full of some great information. Most importantly, it has the service schedule, and it will tell you how often you should change or check the spark plug, how often you should change the oil, how often you should adjust the valve lash on your intake and exhaust. If you don't know how to do that, find somebody that knows how, or take it to a small engine repair shop, or wait for my upcoming video on how to adjust your valve lash on your intake and exhaust valves, because all of those specs are in the user's manual. And that user's manual is good also because it has a full schematic of the wiring of this thing, and so if you ever need to do some work on it, you've got the book right there. Now, you may be wondering why I've got the titanium Flux 125 sitting here right next to me. That's because I'm going to do my third giveaway of one of these machines to one lucky subscriber, and details are coming up real soon. And so keep an eye out for that video, because we're going to do the drawing early enough so that you can get this right before Christmas. Wouldn't that make a really good Christmas gift to be getting one of these in that big brown truck? Yeah, so keep an eye out for that video. Hopefully we can get you one. This is going to be my third giveaway, and I'm going to keep on buying these and keep on giving them away, so stay tuned. Okay, so next we're going to talk about when you buy your machine brand new. You've placed your order, you've waited 3 or 4 weeks for it to finally come in. They called you, you went down and picked it up, you brought it home, you took it out of the box, and you just sit there and stared at it, because it's a wonderful machine and it's a good looking machine to look at. So number one thing, and this isn't covered in the book, this is just from my experience from buying equipment that has the Chinese engines in them, or the Honda clones, whether it's a garden tiller, a pressure washer, a lawnmower, a generator, even the little Chinese motorcycles. You know, I've bought a couple of those in the past. The number one thing that you want to do is, it will not come with oil in it. So add the proper oil, either 10W30 or 5W30 if you're in colder climates. But run your machine for about, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 hours, and then drain it again. You will be surprised at how much metal garbage will flush out of there, because when they build these machines, they're not really that good at flushing all the millings out, and you certainly don't want those getting up in your rings or your seals or your bearings or anything like that. So fill it up with oil, run it anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, enough to get it nice and hot, get that oil circulating, let let those metal fragments float down to the bottom, and then drain it again. Drain it really good, and then fill it back up with your 1.16 quarts of oil. So the service schedule for the new machines, and it will be in your user's manual. I think it's around page 31 or 32, somewhere around there, and it gives a good breakdown of what you should do every time you run it, after 3 months, after 6 months, what you should do yearly, what you should do every 2 or 3 years. Make sure you do those. You paid a lot of money for this machine, you know, almost $2,000, and it's your money maker, you know, and you want to make sure that you know, keep it running as it should be. And even on the new machines, the brand new machines, check your oil, your air filter. Take out the black one, spray it with oil like I did with this one. Wring it out really good. Put it back in so that it'll catch all the fine dust and dirt that's flying around in the air. Also, so the spark plug that it comes with is called, the brand name is Torch. And you might be thinking, oh, what is that? Well, believe it or not, Torch spark plugs are used in almost every Chinese motorcycle, scooter, these little Honda clone engines, pressure washers, generators. Torch is, it's a funny name, but it's probably, if you look at the worldwide market, it's probably, you know, number 3 or number 4 of the top spark plug manufacturers out there. And but if you don't want to go with the Torch, you can take it out, you can go to the auto parts store, they'll cross-reference that over to an Autolite, a Champion, a Bosch, NGK, you know, one of the top, you know, 5-6 brands that you like. Or if you just want, if you're one of those that wants to keep everything stock and running the way it was built, you can buy those Torch spark plugs on Amazon. And again, it's the Torch F7TC. It crosses over to a Champion RC12YC. Or earlier in the video I showed you the number for the NGK that I used. Just make sure you gap it properly. If your new spark plug comes with one of those little squeeze gaskets on there, tighten it down and only give it 1/8 of a turn, or 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn. You don't want to just jam it down in there, because you want to be able to get it back out. But you want to put it in there tight enough to squeeze that gasket that's on the spark plug. That's pretty much it on the new machines. Again, like you did with the used ones, if you buy one brand new, don't trust that they built this with very much quality control supervision. Now they do quality control. I'm not trying to say that there's anything wrong with this machine. It's a fantastic machine. It's robust. It has good build quality. It works as it should, and probably better than you would expect. But human error, you know, these aren't assembled by robots. They've got workers who spend their day just building these things one after another. And so make sure if you've got some time, even on your brand new machines, go through every nut and bolt that you see and make sure everything's tight.
You know, get you a set of metric sockets, which everything on there is going to be metric, and just tighten everything up. And tighten up those bolts is something that you may want to do. I don't know how many hours you're planning on using your Vulcan Outlaw. I run mine probably 3 times a week, all day long. So that's, you know, quite a lot of use. And I would say probably maybe once a month, I'll just spend a lazy Sunday afternoon here at the shop. I'll grab some wrenches and just check all my bolts, make sure that they're all nice and tight. Because again, if you saw that video where my rear cover was coming off the engine, it spilled out I don't know, half a quart of oil before I even noticed, and it had been running all day, and those bolts that go around that rear cover just backed on out because they weren't tight. And so that's one thing that you want to make sure that you do, even if you buy it new or if you buy it used. Check those once a month. And I'm looking here over my notes. That's pretty much everything. Again, if you bought your machine used, you can go to the Harbor Freight website and go to the description page for the Outlaw. Scroll down a little bit and you can download the user's manual, and it's pretty extensive. It talks all about the wiring, how to use it, how to run it, parts diagrams, schematics, everything else, the maintenance schedules and all that kind of stuff. So I think I've covered everything on my notes here. I appreciate you watching. And again, congratulations on getting your Outlaw. When you've had a chance to use it, drop me a line. Let me, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of it and what you did with it and how you like it. And if you would recommend, other people buying it. I appreciate you watching. Leave a comment. Ask questions. You know that I always check my comments and I answer questions. And I try to do it as fast as I can so that you get a quick answer. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I need you to subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button because it helps with the, all the, I forgot what they call it, analytics, all that kind of stuff, so that more people will see these videos and get squared away. But hey, y'all have a good weekend.